This is Mr. Caesar. I'm back with another lesson on speaking, reading, listening, and writing. All right. First thing is our speaking. So telling an adult or a sibling, what do you see in the picture? What are the colors? The sounds you might hear, shapes, feelings. What is he doing in the picture? And why do you think he's wearing goggles? And what do you think he will do next? All right, so we read a story. I read a story to you about cliff diving, and I hope that you visualize that story. And then we read a story about diving, and it was just a nonfiction book. And then I asked you to do compare and contrast. So I just, drew a Venn diagram, and this is what I made. So I did my differences. I numbered them because, like number one, cliff diving. Here, let me get my pointer so I can help. Diving, I said dive off rocks. And then I went over here and I said, number one, it's different because when we talk about regular diving, they dive off a diving board. Okay, so that's the difference. And number two, dive into a lagoon. And that was one of our vocabulary words from 2 lessons ago. And then number two is dive into a pool. Okay. Number three, I said just have to dive into a pool because number three over here, I said you have to miss the rocks at the bottom in order to not get hurt. It's really important when you cliff dive that you know where the rocks are and things like that. Okay, so those are the differences, and numbering them is a lot easier because then you sit and go, okay, what's the difference for both of these, and it just helps to organize it. And then for the similarities, every single time I draw a Venn diagram, I always draw the middle so small. So if you did that, erase it and make it again, because I had a little bit amount of space here. So I'm just trying to cram them in here. So I just wrote that the similarity is that you dive for a crowd. Usually there's a crowd watching. So they both have that. Number two, you have to have your head first. Okay. Number three, I just said you're supposed to have a small splash. Okay, you're not supposed to make this big cannonball like some people do cannonballs into the water and they make a big splash. Well, when you're diving professionally, in cliff diving and diving, both of them, you're supposed to have a small splash. And I just said, you have to be graceful. You can't just like slam into the water. You have to have your body in a perfect position for both of them. And then I wrote the last word, plunge. You both have to plunge into the water. So that's what I did for my Venn diagram. All right, next. All right, so we have a new story, and one of the first words is seaweed. So I want you to think about, what do you think about, when you see this picture? What do you know about seaweed? Do you know anything about it? Okay. Any questions you might have? Things like that. And then this next one is stilts. Do you see how there's this water here, obviously, but these stilts, see how they're right there? These stilts keep this, they call it a hut instead of a house, a hut out of the water, and they have it be above the water. So those stilts are kind of raising things up, okay? And then I wanted to show you a little seaweed farm. This is a really interesting video of a seaweed farm. Hopefully, hope it loads. Sorry. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. Okay, here we go.
On this vast field during low tide, rows and rows of bamboo stalks can be seen
right here. Got the bamboo, and those are seaweed.
Mezeni in Korean, a winter delicacy in Korea. Minerals such as iron and calcium.
And I think it was kind of cool just watching him. They have these bamboo sticks, and and it's low tide. So low tide means the water is not rushing in right now. So he's got these boots on and everything, and he just slides the seaweed off into this bucket, and then he's going to use it for cooking, or he could sell it to people because it's something special. Sorry, I had to sneeze. In this culture, that it's something special in their food. They call it a delicacy, which means it's just a special food. You can watch him for a second.
Also rich in vitamins A and C.
Yep, and he piles it together.
Bay on the west coast, where winter's low water temperatures and fast currents made it.
All right, just want to show you that. Sorry, going back here. All right, the seaweed farm. All right, so this is the story. Okay, ready? There is a group of people that farm seaweed in the ocean. They live in huts that stand on stilts in shallow water. Each day, men climb down from their huts to their boats. They paddle out to their floating beds of seaweed. When they reach a bed, they cut off many long leaves. They take the leaves home to dry and serve them with fish at meals. All right, so what I want you to do is, of course, to visualize that. So the person in the video was able to walk to his seaweed farm. In the story, they have to take a boat, so it's just a little bit different, but that's really the idea of it, is that it slides off and then they dry it and then they can eat it. Okay, so now a new thing we're going to do is called a concept ladder, and the bottom of the ladder has easy questions, and then it gradually, as we go up the ladder, it gets harder. So I'm just going to give you the questions this time, and then I want you to just do your very best to answer them. And then next time I'll show you my examples so that you can see, what my answers were and things like that. Okay. So just do your very best. Okay. So I just want to talk about farming. Okay. Because we had a seaweed farmer. We've talked about farming on all kinds of things before. So the first question is, what is farming? The next question is, list things that people grow or farm. So you just want to make a list. I made 10. So that was fairly easy to come up with things that people farm. Describe farming in detail. Like, give me those juicy details that we talk about when we write our paragraphs. Describe farming. Like, what do you have to do? Explain how to grow something. So what are the steps of growing something? And I know second grade you were talking about your seeds. So, and then upper grades, think back to when you did some seed planting. How do you grow something? Next one is, why do we need to grow farm things? What's the point? And then last one is, compare farming seaweed to growing and farming of vegetables, or even you can do vegetables or fruit, some other thing. Okay, so how is it the same? What does the farmer have to do for both of those things? And then how is it different? There are some differences. Okay, and you're going to want to make that Venn diagram just like I did for the other concept. So you can have seaweed on one side and vegetables. You can even pick a vegetable, like I might do cucumbers. How is it the same and how is it different? All right. So last time I did a listening story for you. It was a pretty basic one, but I wanted you to do the beginning, middle, and end, and it was called The Long Walk. And in the beginning, a man is hiking up a tall, snowy mountain. So I just drew a mountain with the guy hiking up, and I just drew some snowflakes to show that it was snowing. And in the middle, he carried a large green backpack, and a cold wind chilled his face. So I just drew him again going up that mountain, and he has a backpack. So I labeled it, and I have a cold wind. And I wanted to show you that this drawing that I did took less than 5 minutes. So, I didn't take my crayons out. You don't have to I just want you to practice listening to my voice and visualizing. So I just, I labeled backpack. I didn't draw green, and I have the cold wind chilling his face. And then the last part, he reached into his pack and he pulled out a warm blue coat. And I tried to draw that the backpack was on the ground and he's pulling out that warm blue coat, and that's the story. Okay. So that's what I wanted you to do. All right. So now we're going to have another story. Okay. So hope you're ready. If you're not, pause the video. All right, ready. It's called Picking a Gift. The girl standing in the grass looked up. She saw a tall yellow sunflower. She stood on the tips of her toes. She reached up, up, up to pick the bloom. Smiling, she skipped off to Grandma's house. The end. Okay, so another simple story. Now, what was that story about? What happened in it? Okay. Oh, last part. I almost forgot. We have writing. And my writing prompt is about farming. If you could have your own farm, okay, can you tell me or describe what you would grow and what animals would be there on your farm? Okay. So second and third grade, you're writing that perfect paragraph, and then fourth and fifth grade, 2 paragraphs. So again, tell me what you would grow and what animals would be there. Like I would definitely have horses on my farm because I love horses. I've always wanted one. So that's what I would write, 1 paragraph about that. And then maybe growing, I could maybe talk about having lots of vegetables, I think. I would never have to buy salad stuff ever again. I could just pick my salad from the farm. So just describing that. So I just brainstormed. So first you want to brainstorm and then write your paragraph. Alrighty. I will see you, what's today, Thursday? I will see you Monday with another video. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.